Hey, Shalom. All praises to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles, elders, bishops of Great Millstone, and a hearty Shalom to the prophets of that body, and a Shalom to the 144,001 Okay, may peace and blessings and the spirit of endurance be upon you, and may your households be protected as well. Okay, I might speak a little low because it's about 3:56 a.m. on a Thursday morning. What the heck's the date today? 2nd of October, right? This year is almost done. Right. And I hope those of you that kept the Day of Atonement, it was a success, spiritually, of course. And anyway, let's get to this. Okay, as you know, Esau, the so-called white man, and the powers that be, right, especially in these trying times, like they always do, they take away, then they try and give it back. There's no jobs, people are homeless, all right, people are going through trial and tribulation. Okay, but yet in these times, as they always do, they use a scapegoat to try and blame all the problems on individuals that usually look different. And in this case, they're going for our Northern Kingdom brothers, the so-called Latinos and Native Indians that are indigenous to the land of America, also South America, as well as our Southern Kingdom brothers. All right, Haiti, tribe of Levi, Benjamin, from the Caribbean islands. Okay, and at some point, I have not heard yet, they will be going for the tribe of Judah. Okay, because they can't really differentiate between a Judite and a Levite. Okay, Southern Kingdom pretty much look similar, right? So they're gonna just pretty much grab up any so-called black or brown person. I hate saying the term black, by the way, but I've got to say it just so people understand. All right, because we're all brown, different shades of brown, if you're blessed with melanin. But right, so they're gonna pretty much grab up anyone and everyone that looks or has that sort of outward appearance. Okay, they'll probably gag you, tie you up, throw you in the back of their van, and get bonuses for deporting individuals. All right. And it's funny that they don't go for all the Ukrainians, or the Russians, and all the East Indians, or the Samoans, or the Chinese or Japanese that are illegal, because they come illegally too. But they're mainly going for you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and natives. Why? Because you are the bulk of the Israelites, especially in the Americas, right? This is the reason why they're going. I'm not saying there aren't Israelites in other so-called groups that are categorized, that I mentioned. They are Israelites. We're scattered to the four corners of the earth. So Esau can't grab every Jake anyway, right? But they're going for the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and natives. Why? They want to get rid of you Jakes, you Israelites, you Jacobites. Why? Because you are in line to rule the earth next. You elect, and then you 2/3 that will come back as babies through the loins of the elect men are in line to rule next under the spirit and power of Yahweh Bahasham Shai. Okay, as this, as a lot of other Israelite camps say, we got next, and that's actually true. But we got next permanently, forever and ever and ever. Okay, now there's something else interesting I've found out as well, or seen. It's not caught up on a huge, large scale, right? The UK is pretty much doing something similar. And this is from about maybe 10 years. Yeah, damn shit. What is he now? 2025. Look, about 10 years ago. Pay a bounty of £1,000 for the capture and deportation of illegal immigrants. So the UK is doing something similar too. Okay, that the UK government should pay its legal citizens a bounty of £1,000 for each illegal immigrant that is identified, located, or discovered by them and removed from the United Kingdom, which is the UK, England. This would speed up and increase the amount of illegals being removed in line with government targets, saving excuse me, saving UK taxpayers money and allow for an increase in employment within communities, freeing up housing, education, places, employment, and reducing benefit and commerce fraud, as well as general and serious crime figures. Okay, we know the biggest criminal is a so-called white man. All right. Okay, but yeah, there you go. They're not, being paying substantial amounts. I mean, a petition was done, but it wasn't a really successful petition. You know, I don't believe they got a lot of signatures, but this is, it's been thrown up there or thrown in the mix, right? Let's see what else they got here. The government pays foreign national offenders up to foreign national offenders are having their sentences cut short and being paid up to £2,000 to leave the country voluntarily. That's 6 days ago? Actually, let's read this article first, then we go into that. Okay. Now, this has been around. We've been hearing about this for a while. This is only going to lead to Jacob's trouble. Okay, so you got a lot of people that, okay, we've seen videos after videos of our elders and prophets of Great Millstone making videos showing people crashing out, people going doolally, as they say in the UK, which is going crazy. People really venting their frustrations and how they are financially, paralyzed. They can't really do the things they want to do. They've got to flip a coin between putting fuel in their car or buying or going to work. They've got to flip a coin between feeding their dog and feeding themselves. They've got to basically cut down, right? Now, with people being financially strapped, all right, they will, join, these, they will join ICE, okay? And there will be individuals that are so-called black and brown that will be joining as well, and because we always got there's always been sellouts, that want to do that kind of thing. But yeah, just the same way you got black and brown people in the police force, the FBI, ICE, deportation officers, there'll be other ethnicities joining as well, as well as maybe and some Jakes, that'll be joining too. But mainly, this is the so-called white man. This is their way of earning money and venting their hatred. All right. So a lot of these people are going to be joining because, listen, if you're going to be enticed with signing bonuses at $50,000, right, and having your student loans, help with your student loans financially, right, or having that completely, xed out, right, whatever kind of offers they have, okay, a lot of people are going to jump forward and say, you know what, I want to, I need this. I need this for myself. I need this for my parents. I need this for my wife, my children, my girlfriend, my children. I need this money. I've got to take care of my family. So a lot of people, a lot of men, okay, that have been radicalized, right, especially the Edomite man, the so-called white man, will jump ahead saying, you know what, this is our country. Our forefathers found this. The bullshit that they spew, they've been spewing, think that they did everything. We got to look after, we got to bring America back. We got to bring America back, and they've got this, they've got Uncle Sam, right? Department of Homeland Security. America needs you, right? They got this devil here, right? And they're using certain keywords like criminals and predators. Yeah, there's criminals and predators around our own people too. Yeah, of course, right? But the biggest criminal and predator that never leaves anybody alone, and look at their track record as a so-called white man, they need to arrest their own damn selves. But anyway, let's read the key parts. Okay, let's go ahead. Deportation officers who would be tasked with helping apprehend and process undocumented migrants from removed from the U.S. receive salaries of between $49,739 and $89,528 per year, depending on experience and education. ICE currently has 20,000 officers and support personnel spread across the country at 400 offices. All right, let's see what else do we got. Okay, in addition to signing bonus and student loan repayment and forgiveness of up to $60,000, right? That's a huge chunk. A lot of these students have been saying, "Oh, I've got 100K to pay back." So if you knock off down near 60% of 100K, you've got 40 G's left, and you're getting a signing bonus, you know, and you're being paid regularly. A lot of people are going to jump ahead and say, you know what, I'll do this shit. You know. See anything else here? U.S. Immigrations and Custom Enforcement, or ICE, is offering recruitment bonuses of up to $50,000, which is about £37,700, and student loan help to brave and heroic. And look at the terms they're using: to brave and heroic Americans interested in helping with the Trump administration's deportation drive. Brave and heroic. Brave. Look at the key words they're using: money, brave, heroic. America needs you. So the good old boys are going to jump ahead. These Esau, the so-called white man's been itching, to put the ropes around you, Jake's, you ninjas' necks, Northern and Southern Kingdom, and been lusting after, so-called black and brown women. And this is another excuse for them to get paid, to delete you Jakes, right? And also take advantage of various types of women they have access to as well. I'm sure there's a lot of graping going on, because there's a lot of attractive women, especially amongst Northern Kingdom, well-built women too. So these devils are going to get really gruesome with it, And obviously, with these things happening, what do you think that's going to happen? Okay, a lot of Jake are going to be scared. They're not really going to get down there. It's going to sort of like their knees are going to buckle. They won't be able to do a damn thing. All right, but then there's a lot of Jake out there as well that are going to get buck wild. All right, as soon as their mother, their grandma, their grandfather, a little girl of their family gets hurt severely. All right, or they get to the point of snapping, they're going to snap back. Basically, it's going to be Jacob's trouble. All right, so let's see what we got here.
I think out of context, obviously, it's not great. It doesn't look good.
That's the Home Secretary, Shabana Mahmood, talking about bank cards loaded with up to £2,000 and given to foreign national offenders if they leave the UK.
The reality is that a voluntary removal is actually cheaper for the British taxpayer.
ITV News has been on a deportation flight and filmed them being handed over. So just how does it save money? And does it matter what crime was committed?
Murderers, paedophiles, sexual abusers, all of these people are on the list. Totally get why that would be abhorrent to many people. But it comes down to sort of a financial equation here.
I'm Faye Barker, and this is what you need to know. I'm joined by our UK editor, Paul Brand, who with his team were the...
Okay, we've got the idea there. They're paying £2,000 voluntary as well. So apparently they've got £1,000, if you catch a so-called illegal immigrant, right? Yeah, pay a bounty of £1,000 for capture and deportation, right? UK Parliament. I don't think they've got many signatures for that, but still, it's something that's been thrown on the table, right, for people to digress and digest. And there's also got a voluntary option as well for £2,000, All right. A lot of people are going to think to themselves, you know what? A lot of people, for some, £2,000 is a lot of money. They're going to take that money and say, you know what? I'm going to take it back. I'm going to take it and run. But £2,000 really is not really a lot these days either as well, for most. But for some that have come from really sort of deprived areas, they'll take it and run with it. So the UK so far, with the riots and all the marches that they're doing, is getting to that point. We've seen people being hurt, raped. There's women of color that are being raped here. I think it was the so-called East Indian woman. A lot of people have been deleted. A lot of people have been beaten up here in the UK. So it's getting to that point where it's going to get really serious out here. I haven't heard of anything serious like it is in America, but it's definitely getting to that point of, the water boiling over, as they say, right? But America being ground zero, They want to get down because, the bulk of Jake is over there. The bulk, Jake is over here too, but the bulk of Jake is over there in America, and it's going to get gruesome everywhere, everywhere. All right. Especially where the so-called white man's got strongholds, America, the UK, Australia, and it'll get down like that. It'll get gruesome when Jacob's trouble kicks in. All right. Let's go to some scriptures, man. Judah is a lion's whelp, King James Version. I said lion's whelp. It's Genesis 49 and 9. All right. Jeremiah 30 verse 7. Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. Who's the he? The elect are going to be saved out of it. Jacob's trouble ultimately is not just Jacob's trouble alone, so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian, okay, as well as the Israelite foreigners, because the Lord is going to aim for them too, because they are Israelites also. Even though you may have the complexion for the protection, as Paul Mooney would say, you could look like a so-called white person, or you could look like an East Indian, or you could look like a Chinese or a Japanese person, whatever. Right? If you're a Jake, you're gonna be targeted, and it's gonna be a spiritual thing. All right, but and also spiritual and carnal. Okay, you got Jakes that have the original looks, so to speak. They're gonna be targeted heavy as well. All right. So Jeremiah 30 verse 7. Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. Is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. Okay, so Jacob's trouble is for the 2/3 Jakes, okay, all right, or the Jakes that are not elected to be saved on this side, that don't have the covering of Yahweh Hashem Yeshai, and the heathen, okay. So it's not just for Jake; it's for you crackers, for you heathens as well, you non-Israelites. but who shall be saved out of it? But he shall be saved out of it, and that's the elect. The elect are going to be protected when all hell breaks loose, okay. And when all hell breaks loose, there's only so much Jake can take. Jake is going to snap. Like that lion in The Wizard of Oz that never had courage. Jake's going to actually get that courage. All right. Because things are going to be popping off. Let's go to the classic, Second Esdras. All right. Second Esdras 15:14. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein. Verse 15. For the sword and the destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. Verse 16. For there shall be sedition among men. All right. Sedition, men coming together, talking about who they want to take down. They're coming together that, this, he or she is the problem. The people of color are the problem. The Muslims are the problem. The Negroes, Latinos, the natives are the problem. These people are a problem. Get them out, get them out. Then they start quoting, here, especially in the UK, Winston Churchill, Enoch Powell, that were, huge racists, you know what I mean? And, they were talking about how the future of the country, how it will be. And this was 50 years ago. All right. So, the skinheads, coming together again, a lot of old school skinheads, all these groups that in the UK, we have National Front, Combat 18. These are so-called skinhead groups, as well as a lot of these so-called Edomite supremacist groups are linking up as well, because especially now, with the internet bringing everybody closer together, they're linking up with their counterparts in the States and other parts of the world, and going through training procedures and tactics, hand-to-hand combat, lifting weights, benching to a certain level, so they've got their strength up, eating the right foods. And if you see a bunch of Edomites, 20, 30 Edomites in a park training, guaranteed they're part of a so-called white supremacist group. All right. Edomite supremacist group. There's nothing white about them. Okay, they're red and they're pink like swine. For the sword of the destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up against another, and swords in their hands. For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. Okay, they'll be kicking down doors. Okay, it'll be a combination of the have-nots getting it from the people that have it, the people that hate people of color, getting at them, getting at Jake. Some people joining in, even if they're okay with it, everything's okay for them. They're thinking, let's just join in. Oh, I like that girl at the end of the street. She's fine. Let's go and delete her whole family and take that girl. There'll be a whole bunch of shit going on. It's going to be the worst time in history. All right. It's really good. We can read the words and emphasize it, but it's gonna be wild out here, man. All right, it's gonna be wild. Okay, it's gonna be very wild. I mean, obviously, when the elect's back is pushed up against the wall, Yahweh Hashem Shai is gonna show himself even more. All right, because we're gonna need the Lord. All right, we're gonna need Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai. All right, we're gonna need divine intervention. All right, I don't give a shit how tall or big or how many martial arts you know. You could be like Michael J. White, man, 6'3", 220, solid muscle. All right, granted, you can pretty whoop some ass and pretty take down a bunch of soldiers and people, whatever, right? Okay, but that you're still in the flesh. Okay, you're gonna need divine intervention. All right. For there shall be sedition among men and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes. They already hate Keir Starmer. They don't give a shit about Tony Blair from back in the day. They're already cussing him out. They don't like Trump. They don't care about the kings or princes. They sure as hell don't like Prince Charles over here, the ugly motherfucker. You know what I mean? And his whole ugly ass Edomite family. Nobody likes them no more. All right? They're even talking about getting rid of the monarchy here in the UK. A lot of people don't give a shit about them, even their own kind. All right? They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. Verse 17. Here's the kicker, right? Is be martial law as well. They're talking about checkpoints, right? And this is another reason to have checkpoints, illegal immigration. All right, so they will have checkpoints. All right, this is another excuse and reason, along with the help with the riots, race riots, people stealing, people graping, right? Along with illegal immigration, and along with people checking people that are going from one town to the next, even if they're working, they're going to be having checkpoints. They want to see that digital ID. And then eventually we'll go to Revelation 30:16, which is the RF to the I to the D. Okay, because the so-called white man will, make something happen through this, because Yahweh Hashem Shai will allow that to happen, where these phones will be discontinued and the technology will go in your hand. All right, because remember, the financial crash has to happen also. All right, okay, verse 17, a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. That's martial law. You won't be able to go to the next state. You won't be able to go to the next city. Okay, in the UK, we're a small island. We can fit into Texas 5 times. You won't be able to go from one town to the next. However, the Lord will make it happen here in the UK. With all this going on, right? Jake is going to flip. Okay, because Jake, the tribe of Judah, especially the so-called black man in America, all right, is the leader when it comes to innovation, style, hip talk, inventions, every dress code, everything, man, anything and everything cool and shit. Jake even makes evil look cool. As Elder Yashawamba would say, it was cool to be a ninja until 2004. It's not cute no more. Man, we have some excellent elder teachers, man. And and he's right. Jake basically is the leader of this world in terms of everybody wants to copy Jake, man. You'll have a racist cracker with his hat turned backwards saying my bad, and or that's cool, and even saying yo, even Edomites out in these so-called white supremacist gangs, they're trying to act like Jake, but they're racist against you. It's crazy, but Jake is the leader, and when it comes to everything, don't get it twisted. Northern Kingdom is just the same. Is just the same too. But as well as I do, all right, when it comes to the leader, which is the tribe of Judah, the head tribe, the same tribe Yahweh Shai, His Majesty, is from. Okay, the tribe of Judah, that tribe of Jake's leads the way, and once they get down, the rest of the tribes are going to follow. And a lot of Jakes are waking up to the truth, the great awakening in the spirit and power of Yahweh Hashem Shai, whether they are the elect or not. Right? A lot of Jake know that so-called blacks, so-called Hispanics, so-called Native Indians are one and the same. They are one and the same. They are the same people, the same ethnicity, same lineage. Okay? If Their fathers are Jake's, and they go back to the 12 tribes. It don't matter what your mother is. Okay, it does not matter. All right. Okay. So once Jake wakes up, the rest of the tribes are going to follow. And this is a prophecy. And I've already seen a couple of vids, all right, in Chicago. I believe it's Chicago, where I've seen a bunch of Jakes, Northern and Southern Kingdom, linking up, talking about gang truces and shit. So I don't know how far this will spread, but the Lord is making things happen where Jakes are coming together, man. All right. And let's just see how things unfold very soon in the near future. Shit, it could be tomorrow. You never know. Could be today. The Lord's going to do his thing, man. We're approaching 2026, and more and more red tape is being being unleashed, in terms of rules and regulations and changes in government policies and things of that nature. More of your freedoms being taken away, more lockdowns, more negativity, more depression. So once these race riots and Jacob's trouble and everything kicks in, Second Ezra's 15, Jake is gonna flip. Genesis 49 and 9. Judah, or Yahweh, Most High praise, is a lion's whelp. From the prey, my son, thou art gone up. He stooped down. He couched as a lion, and as an old lion, who shall rouse him up? Rouse him up. Who shall rouse him up? See, Judah is gonna. Okay. Let's get Genesis 49 and 9 in NLT. Actually, let me just do it this way. Genesis 49 verse 9 NLT. Genesis 49 and 9. Judah, my son, is a young lion that has finished eating its prey. Like a lion, he crouches and lies down. Like a lioness who dares to rouse him. Okay, get different. So definition of rouse. Definition of rouse. Okay. Cause to stop sleeping. Make angry or excited. Who's going to rouse Judah up? Who's going to make Judah angry and aroused? Right? Who's going to wake Jake up? All right? Yahweh Shem Yashai will. The Lord will send his angels to do that. Right? Because once Jake sees his family being hauled away, his woman being hauled away, his woman, she could be woke her up in the morning, had a shower, just wearing her a robe and naked underneath. And these motherfuckers, these ICE agents come kicking down the door, grab his woman, and her gown opens up, she's naked. And they were laughing and shit. And what's he gonna do? He must snap, and his woman gets hauled off. It's gonna be some effed up situations. Your children being hauled off, your woman being hauled off, your grandparents, they could hurt your grandma or grandfather at the same time. There's various types of situations that pop in your mind because they're going to come unannounced. They're not going to say, oh, yeah, we're going to come 9 a.m. on October the 25th. Be ready. We don't want to wait around. Make sure you're dressed and ready to go. No, they're going to kick down the door in the middle of the night, early in the morning. All right, they're going to come unannounced. Genesis 49 and 9 again. Judah is a lion's whelp. From the prey, my son, thou art gone up. He stooped down, he couched as a lion, and as an old lion, who shall rouse him up? And the Lord's going to make it happen. Okay? All these things that are happening around the world. Okay? You got Jake out there with all types of weaponry, man. All right, in the streets. It may not be as advanced as what so-called white man has, because the so-called white man's blessing is his weaponry. The so-called white man is a Batman. The so-called white man is who's the other Iron Man. Yeah, Iron Man. That's so-called white man. Who's Batman? Batman's a billionaire or trillionaire or whatever, with all the gadgets, all the latest tech, the hideouts. That's basically some of these elites, man. I'm sure they've got weaponry like that, or they own it. Look at Iron Man, right? Another billionaire or trillionaire. that owns, I believe, is it in the movie, Robert Downey Jr. owns some kind of weapons company, right? Yeah, that's the so-called white man. That's his weaponry. All right, that's their blessing. All right, so it's not advanced as what Jake has, but Jake is going to do some damage out here, even with his switch. You know, so it's going to get grimy out here, man. It's going to get grimy. And we're coming to that point. You know, the water's boiling, and as soon as it starts boiling over, people are going to get down, man. All right, they're going to get down. It won't be long before tanks are rolling in the street. All right. Anyway, I'm gonna leave it there. It's 4:30 now in the morning. All praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem Rakakwadash. All right, so keep your eyes and ears open, Yasharala. Be circumspect, keep your head on a swivel, like our elders and prophets say, and stay tuned in while you can to get this warm bread. All right, this truth. All right, and stay tuned into the news as well, man. You know, and stay tuned in, man. All right, because our apostles and elders and prophets will not be on the street filming and putting videos on YouTube forever. All right, there's a time to prophesy, as our elders would say, in the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yashai, and there's a time for these prophecies to actually play out, which they are. All right, and I don't see many scoffers coming to fuck around with our elders, apostles, bishops, and teachers anymore. All right, you go back watch older videos, you see a lot of pricks, a lot of bitches talking shit. Now those same MFers are pretty much quiet now, like a church mouse. They ain't saying SHIT. But then you got some bold people out there that are still talking shit, but the Lord's got something for them, man. But anyway, all praise to Yahweh Bashem Yashai, Bahashem Rakakwadash, Mawatha Bad Babal, Kwam Yashrala. Shalom.